Welcome to my studio. My name is Justin Campbell with Justin Campbell Design. I'm here with Eric today from Tongue and Groove. We're gonna talk a little bit about sculpture and the process of making it today. So bronze is, it's kind of an umbrella word that describes several different alloys where the principal metal being used is copper. So copper mixed with various other elements. Different types of bronze have different strengths and weaknesses in their uses. So for example, the type of bronze I use can be bent quite a lot before it'll snap or crack, and it can handle impact and be welded very easily if you need to fix something. The way I make it is I buy scrap copper from roofing companies around town, melt it down, mix manganese, silicon, and a little bit of lead, and that produces the species of bronze that is ideal for my work. I've always had a hunger for being an artist ever since I was a kid. As the years went by, I continued doing it until I went to school at East Carolina University. In the very beginning programs where they start teaching just a little bit about a whole variety of processes, whether woodworking, printmaking, sculpting. In my sculpting intro classes, the very first time I got to pour liquid aluminum and weld on steel, I knew that I was gonna have a connection to metal for the rest of my life. It's a long process, and I'm gonna dumb it down a little bit. Basically, you start with sketching. That's one of the most fundamental, important parts of the artistic process. You've got to be able to engineer a piece as well as sculpt it. It's got to be able to hold itself up under its own weight, and with something like bronze, that's considerable. So if you have a bird where it's just balanced on the tips of its feathers on one wing, it's going to require internal structures that hold it up but make it look like it's as light as the air when it's finally produced. So you start with sketches, you do the engineering, then you build the sculpture out of, let's say, clay is one of the processes. So I'll build the red stag in clay. Then from there, I will take rubber molds over the entire outside, and with those rubber molds, I can then fill that up with wax. It creates a wax version of the red stag. From that, I'll cut it into a bunch of little pieces and put it into a different type of mold made from silica sand bonded with a resin. You kind of compact it in like you would concrete, and it sets up after about half an hour, leaving a silica-based mold that can withstand 3,000 degrees plus. From there, the molds go into a giant oven and it melts all the wax out. It falls out the bottom because the molds have been flipped upside down. You flip them right back over, melt your bronze, create it, and fill those molds up with the bronze. It solidifies as it cools. And then you attack it with a sledgehammer, break all the sand off of the bronze that has been cast on the inside, and voila, you have all the pieces ready to be welded back together to create your final piece. For example, the red stag. Okay, let's do a little bit of a walk around. I'm gonna show you my studio space. Directly behind me is where I do all my welding. I'm gonna be grinding, sanding, cleaning all of my castings directly after they're done casting. I've got my MIG welder and TIG welder over here. These are gonna be what I do all my fixes and repairs with. You've got a few examples of some of the pieces that I've been working on behind me. These are still in process. As you can see over here, I like to have all my tools accessible and visible at all times. It just helps me continue flow as seamlessly as possible throughout the day. So tool wall, I've got materials bulked back behind here. It's all dirty, we don't need to look at that. Here are some more pieces in process. This is gonna be a lionfish when it's all done. It has no fins because I'll be doing those next. These are Venus flytraps that are gonna be continuing on a sculpture behind us. Here's a little abstracted sea turtle I was just kind of having fun with. Here is a thorny seahorse that I abstracted with the sea life that's going off the back of it, a little spider web. And finally we have a horseshoe crab that I haven't decided what I'm gonna do with just yet. Moving over here, this is where I do all the cutting for my metal and wood. As you can see, I go through a lot of saw blades. These are the boards that I use to form up my molds. So for a mold, you have to have a flask. And so you build essentially a box with these, and then you cram the sand inside that is bonded with resin and epoxy, and that makes your mold. So further on, we have two of my newer pieces. These are something that I'm pushing forward. They're called fire columns. We have a lionfish abstracted on the left, and again, a thorny seahorse over here on the right. These are designed to be fully engulfed in flame on the inside. They look spectacular at night. I just got a brand new ring roller over here. That's a tool I've been waiting for years. I'm really happy to finally have it. My drill press, and then back around to my welding station. So the timeline for a sculpture like the stag or the seahorse is generally going to be about a year. It takes a long time just to formulate the order of operations and how you want to go about completing it. And every stage is going to require massive amounts of cleanup and alteration. So I generally will not give a customer less than a year type of timeline for a piece this large. The setbacks can be enormous. I had several months lost on this last project due to malfunctions with my kiln or malfunctions with the type of sand I was using. In a casting realm, when you're doing things that are irregular and kind of one-offs, generally I can expect about a 10% failure in the casting. So big setbacks, but you just got to plow through it and keep moving. Ooh, that's tough. There's a lot of really amazing artists, sculptors. My favorite is Bernini. He has the ability to create flesh and bone in a way that's turning marble into soft tissues, and it's the details that are so subtle and hard to wrap your mind around as a novice that when you see it in real life, you have an appreciation for what it means to be a true master. The best way to reach me is through Instagram. My handle is @JustinCampbellDesign. It's pretty much the platform that I use exclusively for introducing my art to the world.